The Ford Ranger Raptor is a truck that is ready to take on the wild. It's Ford's mid-sized truck, but don't let its size fool you, because it's packing a twin turbocharged V6 engine under the hood. It's got off-road capabilities that can handle pretty much anything that you throw at it. So whether you're into off-roading, overlanding, or if you just want a truck that stands out, the Ranger Raptor is a truck that can turn heads and can also tackle terrain that most people wouldn't even dare of going on. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Oh, I love it. The Ranger Raptor is way more aggressive styling-wise compared to the rest of the Ranger lineup. First thing you're going to notice is this giant Ford lettering that stretches across the grille. There's a unique grille setup, unique front bumper with the forward sensing system and the front-facing camera. You're going to find LED headlamps inside of the ride, along with fog lamps, which lit up at night, they look great, but they're functional as well. They're performance LEDs, and that absolutely comes in handy if you're going to be doing some nighttime driving, whether that's on-road, off-road, overlanding, whatever the case may be. Something that sets the Ranger Raptor apart from even the FX4 package, all of the extra underbody protection, the Fox suspension, things like that. But you're going to have 2 tow hooks in the front, and then a steel bash plate in the front. Very, very useful if your plan is to go off-roading and you're going to run into some rocks. The Ranger has a few lights that are strategically placed. So you've got your headlamps, lights just underneath the side view mirrors, and then you've got your bed lighting along the top, and along the back here, there's also a little light. So where that comes into play is your available zone lighting. So later on at night, if you're going to be working, you can have all of your lights strategically placed and turned on in order to maximize your available nighttime work area. The body inside of the Ranger Raptor is wild. You can see these fender flares that pop out so much more in comparison to the regular Ranger. The Ranger Raptor has 17-inch Beadlock capable wheels. And where that comes into play is it lets you air the tires down for more aggressive rock crawling without worrying about the bead of the tire slipping off of the rim of the wheel. So that is available if you do want to use it. But the tires themselves are so capable. BF Goodrich 33-inch profile all-terrain KO3s. This has you covered off-road hands down. And it's surprisingly not that noisy on regular city streets and highway driving, which really surprised me. The Raptor features Fox 2.5-inch live valve internal bypass shocks, which adjust damping on the fly based on the terrain. It has 7 selectable drive modes that's going to let you adjust the truck's behavior to suit the terrain you're on. It has a rock crawl mode that's going to engage the 4-wheel drive system and tweaks the suspension for better grip and rock crawling conditions. Then there's Baja mode, which is my favorite, and it essentially turns the truck into an optimized vehicle for off-road, specifically in sandy conditions. So it optimizes everything, ideally for desert runs, but it works incredibly well in these types of scenarios. Oh, look at this. Ooh. Handling it like a boss. The side steps are functional and sturdy, meaning that you can get into the first and second row with relative ease. And one nice thing is that there are assist handles across all 4 doors, so a driver-passenger side. And here's the thing, you're only going to find the Ranger Raptor in the Super Crew configuration, so the 4 full doors. Not necessarily a bad thing because it gives you more space for the second row, but that also means that you're sacrificing for bed space. Filling up fuel is done along the driver's side. It is an unlocked cover that has a capless system, but it features anti-siphon technology. One nice thing about the majority of the Ford lineup is that the minimum manufacturer's recommendation is just regular 87 octane. So just regular gas is all you technically need to use. But the Ranger Raptor is one of the few Ford vehicles that I would recommend using something like an 89 or 91 instead. It's got a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6, and it absolutely will run better with some better horsepower and torque numbers when you use a higher octane fuel. It's not necessary. Minimum manufacturer's recommendation is just 87, but you will definitely notice a difference running something higher. I've been getting surprising fuel economy inside of this ride too. When I first went to go pick the truck up, it's about a 70-ish kilometer drive to get to where I need to pick them up. And I was averaging, so I was able to get the fuel economy down to about 11.9 liters per 100, which for a vehicle this size is wild. I was pushing it a little bit at times. I was in stop and go traffic, and then I was coasting for probably about half of the time as well. So that 11.9 liters per 100 is better than Ford's claimed fuel economy for the Ranger Raptor. The rear end styling of the Raptor is great. The back end, you've got LED tail lamps with a black bezel, blacked out Ford logo with the backup camera there, and then a Raptor badge along the top right side. Tech-wise, there also is the reverse park sensing system. If you're backing up to tow, you can also utilize the camera to point down so you can line yourself up better. Speaking of towing, inside of the Ranger in general, you can tow up to 7,500 pounds. But inside of the Raptor, that drops. So you're maxing out at 5,510 pounds as your max allowable towing capacity. That's your max. That's not what you want to actually pull. General rule of thumb, take about 10 to 15% off of your max number, and that's what you want to tow at. But you've got all of your necessary components here to tow. So there's the 7 and the 4-pin wiring harness, and then your receiver, so you just need the ball joint. And then you're going to find the spare tire just underneath. The dual exhaust can also sing to you because of the 4 different exhaust modes. One nice thing about the tailgate inside of the Raptor, truck is locked. That's also locked. But unlocked, it also has active dampers for a nice slow open, which is nice. This one is completely naked, but from the factory, you do have the option for a spray-in or a drop-in bed liner. Honestly, if you're going spray-in, my recommendation is always to just do Line X aftermarket. It's about twice as thick as the factory liner, and it also has a lifetime warranty. You could put a cap on this if you want to, and then feature-wise, there's nothing off to the right side. Off to the left, there are 2 power points. So there's a 12-volt power point, 180 watt max, and then there's a 120 volt, so a 400 watt max AC plug. So a traditional wall plug back here. So you could technically power some tools up from the back if you wanted to. And while you won't find a tailgate step inside of the Ranger, what you will find are some measurement units along with clamps. So if you wanted to use this as a little work truck, you absolutely could. Payload for the Ranger is going to be all over the place as well. So inside of the regular Ranger, you're looking at 1,711 pounds as your max allowable payload. Inside of the Raptor, slightly less. So it's technically 1,411 pounds, but if you actually look, the maximum here based off of the spec is 1,321 pounds. So in any truck, whether it's the Raptor, the F-150, the Maverick, Super Duty, etc., if you look at the yellow door sticker here, you're going to be able to see what your maximum payload actually is. So technically, the Raptor is rated for up to 1,411 pounds before you start adding things in. And this one isn't even fully spec'd out. So if you have a spray-in bed liner, that has a net weight. If you have a tonneau cover, if you have bed mats, whatever the case may be, those are all going to subtract from your allowable payload. And that works the same way if you're pulling a trailer. So the tongue weight of the trailer is going to subtract from your payload as well. So those are all things you have to take into account. While the exterior of the Ranger Raptor is fairly aggressive, it looks tough. When you hop inside, it's all about comfort and technology. The Raptor features sport bucket seats that has the Raptor logo stitched right inside, and that red highlight follows through the stitching. There are seat highlights, and that's a common theme you're going to find on the inside. There's driver's seat memory inside of the ride, power folding side view mirrors, and then this one has the upgraded audio system as well. Got those red pockets throughout the vents, basic controls for your front lights with bed lighting available. And then these are the thermoplastic rubber trays you're going to find from the factory. Whether it's the Raptor or any other vehicle, whether it's Ford, whatever the case may be, get the trays because it's so much easier to clean these down if they're muddy. Your push button start inside of the Raptor, and it features a digital cluster screen. That looks fantastic. It's got all the information that you need as you move through different modes. You can see here your basic trip counter, fuel economy, things like that. But more importantly, it's got an available off-road mode where you can see your off-road status. So you can see your vehicle's pitch and roll. You can even see your steering angle as you go. You can see your Raptor status. So if you've customized things like your exhaust sound, your dampers, so do you want sport versus off-road dampers? On top of that, you can adjust your steering for normal, comfort, or sport as well. But if you want a full walkthrough, like you want to know how to use the steering wheel buttons, go through the cluster screen, or even the infotainment, you'll find a walkthrough down below. You're going to find paddle shifters inside of the ride. The infotainment system features wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. You can use Google Maps, Apple Maps, and Waze through Apple devices, and then Google Maps and Waze through Android. There are so many different useful options available inside of this screen, including accessing the 360 camera. So you can see what's going on all around you, zooming into unique spots. You can see a hitch view, so if you're setting up a trailer, you can line yourself up perfectly. There's a front-facing view, but one of my favorites is an available side-by-side view. So if you're going off-road, you can see what's going on right next to you. There's climate control built into the screen, including turning on your heated first-row seats and heated steering wheel. But down low, there are still physical dials. That drives some people crazy, so to actually have those dials is very useful. There's a wireless charge pad, 2 USB power points, so a Type A and a Type C, and then one of the last Ford vehicles that still has a hand shifter, so you can easily adjust out gears as you go. Useful, but when you're in your drive mode, there's also the option of going into a manual mode instead. You've got your paddle shifters that can work beautifully as well as you go. There's some cup holders and then basics here. So there's Park Assist available inside of the Ranger. If you want to walk through on that, you'll find it in the description. You can also turn on traction control. So on off as necessary, the auto start stop system. It's the one that's going to kill power to your engine. And then there's this, which is going to give you your available off-road mode. So it's going to take a second in order for everything to load up, where you can see there. Off-road, where you can see what's going on all around you. You can hit here in order to get into a different view. Watch this. So your pitch and roll, steering angles, things like that. So you can see everything through the cluster or a different view. Again, useful off-road, where you can also lock out your rear diff or your front locking differential as well. And front diff, you do have to be in your 4 low. So you've got the option of going 4 high, 4 low, 2 high, or 4 auto. 4 auto means the vehicle is going to figure out which mode you should be in. 4 low is for aggressive rock crawling, off-roading, etc. 2 high, the majority of the time. And then 4 high for snowy, slippery conditions. And then you've got a selector switch to be able to go between all of your available drive modes. There's an armrest that features the 12-volt power point and removable tray. Glove box that's fully lockable. with a little storage tray, assist handles along all 4 doors. There's an auto-dimming rearview mirror, basic controls for cabin lights, a power sliding rear window, sunglasses holder, and auxiliary switches. If you want to wire in a dash cam or if you want to do an LED light bar, whatever the case may be. The visor has the home link system, so if you've got a garage door opener at home, there's a ticket receipt holder. There are lights built into the vanity mirror, and then this stretches out, blocking all of the sun that might be hitting your face. And for my audiophiles out there, the Ranger Raptor features the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen sound system.
Figure out what else we succeed and then invest all of my time into that and proceed.
So it doesn't matter if you're in the city or wilderness, you're surrounded by high quality sound all around. And the overall space inside of this ride is incredible. So I'm 6 feet tall. And with the seat as far down as it's going to go, up overhead, I've got, 4.5, 5 inches of headspace. So plenty spacious for people that are 6'4", 6'5". You won't have an issue fitting inside of this ride. The second row inside of the Raptor, the seats do feature the same red highlights that we saw along the driver's seat. The step, easy to access to get inside. And spacing back here actually isn't too bad. So I've got the driver's seat set up for myself being 6 feet tall. And in the second row, I've got a good amount of knee space, foot space, and head space, an inch and change. So while it's not the most spacious second row, I can still fit back here. 3 full-size adults my size would be tight because there's a little hump separating the seats on the outboard. Not going to find heated second row seats here, but there are some power points down low, so USB Type-C, and then a 400-watt plug, and then there's a little storage cubby there. There are pockets behind both the passenger and the driver's side. Up overhead, there's a handle and a hook. Same thing along the driver's side here, so a little handle hook, and then there's a light up overhead as well. The seats have cup holders that are built right in, and it's got a little release clip along the top, so you don't have to worry about this dropping down by itself if you're going off-road. There are anchor points down low, tethers in behind the seat. So you can see there all of your necessary tether points. The jack stand is just in behind the seat there. So if you needed to change the tire out yourself, you could. You could also just use Ford roadside assistance being a Ford owner. So it's good for 5 years, 60,000 miles, 100,000 kilometers. So fuel delivery, winching services, lockout services, tire change, things like that. Useful. The seat is actually locked down into place until you pull the tab to lift up. You've got some storage along both the passenger and the driver's side. And again, with the thermoplastic rubber trays, available aftermarket, but incredibly useful with a unique style when you get them from the factory for the Ranger. There are 3 different engine choices available inside the Ford Ranger, but inside of the Raptor, it's powered by a 3-liter twin turbocharged V6 engine that pushes out 405 horsepower in an impressive 430 pound-feet of torque. It's paired with a 10-speed automatic transmission with paddle shifters. So what I'm going to do, flip myself into sport mode here, which is going to give us the best throttle response. I'm going to utilize the paddle shifters as well. And we got to get back up to highway speed. So we'll go in 3, 2, and... $100. Nice. That's going to bring a smile to your face. The suspension is where the Raptor really shines because the Fox shocks can handle some serious punishment for whatever you end up throwing at it. Damn. The live valve technology is constantly adjusting the damping based off of the terrain that you're taking. It's crazy how stable this truck feels, even when you're pushing it hard. What's surprising about the Ranger Raptor is that for all of its off-road prowess and capability, it still handles surprisingly well on regular city streets and highways. It's got plenty of power for passing on the highway, and the 10-speed automatic transmission makes a great job keeping the engine in a sweet spot. And you would think that with a truck that has a 3-liter twin turbocharged engine and beefy all-terrain 33-inch rubber, it would be noisier, but the cabin inside of the Ranger Raptor is surprisingly quiet. The Ranger Raptor starts in Canada at $80,000 versus in the States it starts at $57,000. So let's call it the way it is. This is a pricey truck. There's no way to kind of dance around that. But you also have to look at the crazy amount of performance that you get in the incredible off-road capability for the price. So if you want a truck that can handle anything you throw at it while still being practical enough for everyday use, the Ranger Raptor is worth a serious look. But who is this truck for? If you're serious about off-roading but don't want to go full size with the F-150 Raptor, this is the perfect mid-ground. It's got all the off-road capability that you might need in a more manageable package. So the question that you have to ask, is the Ranger Raptor worth it? Do you care about the performance, the off-road capabilities, and being able to have a bed? Or do you not care about that bed, in which case, was it worth it to look at the Ford Bronco instead? What do you think? But if you enjoyed this video, drop down in the comments below and let me know what you think overall. Give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And until I see you next time, take care.